I live in the wonderful town of Utrecht in the Netherlands that you probably all know very well. It is the most iconic Dutch town, and its Dutchness is already well known in many places. I travel a lot, and I think the traveling has come from my grandfather. When I was a little boy, my grandfather would show me maps, and I had a magnifying glass that I still have. And I looked with him at maps at places with very strange names. Places I visit today, and I remember those days when I was thinking, who lives there? I also wrote a small blog about the city of Utrecht. I've done my best to try to think of a better name, but when I saw Humans of New York, I gave up and just got on with it. I now know my stories are slightly different. I get comments, and the Chinese version of my blog, where people look into Utrecht, is called Wokenjian, which means I see you, which I think is a much more appropriate term. What I see is what I see, and what I think it means is only what I think it means. I'm not a scientist. We can all look at this picture. There's two girls, and a third one frowning. Frowning at me, at the camera, frowning at the two girls who are apparently, or maybe not, giving each other a kiss. I know how this ended, but I'll leave it in the picture. I often ask the question when I do a photography workshop or when I photograph people afterwards. I ask them the question, how many percent of people do you think do not want to be photographed? And I invariably get the answer between 30 and 50%. And that's amazing. So of the people I ask, which very often are students in photography or people who just be photographed, they tell me a significant portion of humanity does not want to be photographed. That's not my experience. My experience is it is below 1%. Now, what does that tell you about your view of humanity? And if you think it's my charm, what does that tell you about your view? I think every human being, since the moment we became aware of our existence, we also became aware of a certain loneliness in our head. Because unless you're ill, inside your head, you're on your own. And really, nobody can really understand your thoughts. So I think the most beautiful gift you can give to any human being is to see them. I think we all know there's a tribe in South Africa who greets each other with the words, I see you. And the response is, I am here. I think that is the most essential part of being human. This message, do you see me? We are together. Go with me and look over my shoulder. I saw this woman in London. She was singing with her radio, so I took the picture and waited for her to finish singing. And I asked her about this. She didn't speak English, she was Chinese. I asked her, why are you singing? She told me, I am happy. This woman I met in Africa, in the township. For me, it was a garbage dump. She was brooming the broomstick. For me, a completely useless task. I went over to her, the translator helped me. I asked her, can I take your picture? She asked me why. So I said, well, I think you're so beautiful. And she said, well, I haven't done my hair. Completely abolishing my preconceived ideas. There's one important thing. I think the idea with which you enter into a conversation can greatly affect the outcome. If you're a photographer, you're afraid of rejection, your nervousness probably causes rejection. This man, with my family, I was in Borneo, I was carrying way too much equipment. I thought I was going to photograph animals and it would just be very hot. And came across this guy in a small village and asked, do you know somewhere, a place where you could get some food? He says, yes, my home. My wife will cook for you. We had a wonderful conversation, and during the conversation he said to me, you're coming from Europe, but you have to know, we are very rich people. We are the richest people. So I thought, again, preconceived idea, I thought, maybe there's oil, diamonds, or golds here. I didn't know. I said, so why are you rich? He says, we have so much bamboo, we can never finish it all. This man I came across in a train in India. You know, these overcrowded trains, people sitting on the roof. I was crawling over people, wanting to make some good pictures. An amazing thing, I saw this guy sitting with an empty seat next to him. And I already saw him. It took me about 10 minutes to get to him, and I saw all the time, the seat's really empty. So I asked him, why is the seat next to you empty? And he said, it's your seat. So I said, how do you know? I said, who are you? And he was apparently a guy with a very long name, and he was apparently a very senior guy in yoga. So I said, well, if you're so spiritual, what kind of message do you have for me? And he said, do not believe your own thoughts. Whatever you think, you just made it up yourself. Utrecht. I walked into the store, and I immediately took this picture. And then I said, guys, you look like you've just been fired. And they said, we've just been fired. With my name and a different picture on every backside that I give to people when I travel. So months after I went to Borneo, I got a message, you're in my village. And I had to figure out who she was. And this beautifully, confident looking woman that I photographed somewhere in a market in Borneo. And I love that. Oh, we're talking connecting the dots. These little contacts from the other side of the planet. You know, this week we get messages from Nepal. People I met saying, I'm okay. I live in a tent, but I'm okay. These contacts are not superficial, they're just small. This woman from China is of the age where you don't have to be polite anymore. So the first question she asked me is, what is your salary? Then again, I asked her, can I live inside your house? So this girl, also in China, was really cute, asked me, do you want to photograph me? Why? So I explained, this couple, this girl, I said, why do you look so great? You've got such wonderful clothes, you really thought about what to wear. Why do you look so beautiful? And they said, well, during the week we have to wear school uniforms. This man I met in Ukraine, on the Ukrainian-Russian border. I took a train trip into Russia. Basically, I like to go to places where there's no rough guy. So there's nothing. I went to Volgograd and towns like Tomsk and Sverdlovsk, where there's nothing. On the train, a 10-hour stopover in the train, minus 25 degrees, this guy came to me and started talking in Russian. I was speaking Russian. So I answered in English, I answered in Russian. He kept talking. I answered in Dutch, didn't matter. So I just spoke Dutch to him and we had a very good conversation. It felt like 20 minutes because the body language. And then when he was finished, he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, do you speak English? This man I met in Utrecht, I said, you will wear shoes. He says, no problem, I only do it in the weekend. This is a picture I like. I like it particularly because at that moment, a photographer came to me and said, oh, what's your camera, what's your lens? Which I generally don't like that kind of discussion. And then this couple said goodbye and I took the picture. And the guy said to me, the photographer, oh, you shouldn't make your pictures so hasty. This couple, I saw at Utrecht Station. You know what I like about this picture, apart from the fact that you really see this picture, what's happening. It's like this wonderful moment of two people. And what I also like is they were named in 26 minutes on the website. When I put them on Universe of Utrecht, 26 minutes later, they were known, named, they could react, their friends reacted, and well over 100,000 people saw the picture. I was seeing this girl from a distance and I thought, I want to take a picture of her. But she's in a group, so what to do? And when I got closer, I saw she was holding a sign, and the sign said, I gotta tell a story to a stranger. So I said, I'm a stranger. Tell me your story and let me make a picture. This man I met in Asia, and he was sitting there, and his granddaughter was having a holiday from university, and she was helping him. I asked her to translate, took the picture from him. A couple of months later, I got a message from her, and I gave her the picture of her grandfather. She was back to university, and she said to me, you've captured the soul of my grandfather, which I think is really cool. In Asia, many people in that area, children are raised by grandfathers. This is Reinier. Reinier had a bad day. He had a relationship crisis, and he went out to town to buy clothes for himself to feel better, found a bunch of roses, started handing out roses in town. I didn't see her name. I saw 3 girls, different girls with roses, walking around with one rose. So I started asking, why are you walking around with roses? They said, there's a guy handing out roses. I found him, took a picture of him. Put the story online, found much more references on Facebook, and then weeks later I saw him in Utrecht and he said to me, hey Paul, I'm Reinier. I'm doing very well. I got 3 dates out of that day. This is Kiara. I usually never take pictures of architecture or whatever. And I was really feeling a little bit guilty in Utrecht. I said, I need to take a picture of a bridge or something. So I was taking a picture of the bridge and she comes on her bicycle. So I said, stop, 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 I gotta take a picture of you. But I need to change my camera, and so I was a little bit nervous. Took the picture, asked her something, I could write out a little story, and then she went away. That evening on my blog I wrote, usually I never ask people for details, I just give my details. As I think it's not taking pictures but giving attention. But I thought I really felt stupid because I should have asked for her details so I could do more pictures with her. 2 months later, 3 months later, I got a message from her. She said, I went back to Bologna and then after a couple of weeks went back to Utrecht. And I was in a coffee place and a guy started staring at me for maybe 10 minutes and then he came over to me and he said, are you that girl? She said, what do you mean? Are you that art student from Bologna that has a friend in Utrecht? I said, yes, that's me. Ah, the photographer is looking for you. I was lost. You know, our former health minister was killed at the burial day in Utrecht. There was many media, many press and a lot of officials. So I went the other way and met this guy. He's a homeless guy selling the homeless paper. He has a drug abuse history. So I said to him, do you know what's going on in the town? He says, of course, I know all the horses being buried. And she meant a lot to me. Because she legalized my therapy. This girl, my name is Thai. I come from Vietnam, that's very confusing, also very small, and I do not like to smile. And I think she absolutely wonderful. Yes, it's true, yes, it's true. Okay, good. This couple, I saw them, I thought, in front of Simon Leveld's coffee house. Let's make a picture. I said, are you a couple? The guy looked at her and said, yes, you're a couple. And she looked back and said, yes, we're a couple. And I said, is this the first time you say this to each other? And he said, yes. I'm sad to say that I met her a couple of months ago. She said, they don't know her. It was a good story. I asked people, can I come to your house and photograph your Christmas tree? Too many people said yes, I had a real deadline, Christmas. She said, I always wanted this tree, but it's too expensive. And the company that had this tree wrote out a competition you could win it. I didn't win, but my friend won it, and she gave it to me. How do you get a beard and a mustache like that? I don't know. I never keep it, I don't do anything to it. What do you do for a living? He says, I used to be a plumber, I'm now retired. If I live again, I'll be a plumber again. This man has purely old-fashioned skates, came back from Australia because he was homesick for the ice. This Cuban says, you can smoke my cigars because I smoke them too. We see him occasionally in Utrecht. His day job is in accounting. It's true. Wonderful girl in Asia, coming back from her holidays, helping her grandparents and parents on the market. This woman also wanted to know one thing from me. Hey, you were making pictures. Are you from the tax authorities? If we see that car in Utrecht, we know spring. I melt for you. Spring has started. I'm sitting outside the hairdressers because inside is a lot of modern music, very loud, and I can smoke here. My hair dries here as good as inside. Yes, we're a couple, and we synchronize our smoking breaks so we can be together during the day because we work in different shows. Yes, it's a big instrument, but I'm a bass player, it's in my blood. This is Christian playing music. He's playing a tango at a very un-Dutch moment. People spontaneously start to dance. And I hope he will maintain this attitude for his entire life. This picture really doesn't need a story. If you look at it, you can identify the moment when I saw her passing, I saw she squeezed in this one moment when I made the picture. And then I'm always very happy when it turns out like that. And this picture doesn't have people. It only has people indirectly. In St. Petersburg, I saw in the winter, when it's very cold, ice, the water in the canals is not frozen, I think because of the city heating system pipe they go under it. But the cold air makes the water freeze on the base of the statues. People coming out of the subway take off their gloves and put their hands on the ice, melting it, leaving their mark. For me, this is like an echo from the dawn of humanity, resembling our oldest cave paintings, sending the basic message, I am here. And I, from the bottom of my heart, like to answer, I see you. Thank you.